At 34, I'm Monica, a successful journalist at a top fashion magazine and a well-known fashion blogger. As I sit in my office, surrounded by racks of designer clothes and stacks of glossy magazines, I can't help but feel a sense of pride. I've worked hard to get here, and every late night and early morning has been worth it. My phone buzzes with a notification. It's an email from my editor. "Monica, great job on the latest piece. The readers are loving it. Keep it up." I smile to myself. This is what I live for, the rush of creating content that resonates with people, the thrill of being at the forefront of fashion trends. But it wasn't always like this. My mind drifts back to my childhood, to the house where I grew up. It was a nice house in the suburbs, but for me, it was more of a battlefield than a home. My sister, Sarah, is 7 years older than me. From the day I was born, she saw me as competition. I remember her constant need for attention, her jealousy, her manipulations. It's funny how some wounds never truly heal, even after all these years. There was this one time, when I was about 8. Sarah was 15 and had invited her friends over. I was in my room, reading a fashion magazine. Suddenly, I heard a crash from downstairs. My heart sank. I knew, somehow, that this wouldn't end well for me. I crept down the stairs to find my mother's favorite vase in pieces on the floor. Sarah and her friends were standing around it, looking guilty. But then Sarah's eyes locked with mine, and I saw a familiar glint in them. "Monica," she shrieked. "What have you done?" I stood there, mouth agape, as Sarah spun a tale of how I had been running wild through the house and knocked over the vase. Her friends, not wanting to get in trouble, nodded along. But I didn't, I started to say, but my parents had already made up their minds. "Monica, how could you be so careless?" my mother scolded. "You know how much I loved that vase." "You're grounded for a month," my father added. "And no pocket money until you've paid for a new vase." That night, as I lay in bed, I made a promise to myself. One day, I'd have my own place, my own life, far away from Sarah's shadow. And here I am now, living that promise. I've got my own house, bought with a mortgage I'm proud to pay off each month. It's my sanctuary, my piece of peace and quiet. As I wrap up my latest article on fall fashion trends, my mind wanders back to the day Sarah got married. I was 15, and I remember feeling an overwhelming sense of relief. Finally, I thought, I'd have some peace in my life. The wedding itself was a lavish affair. Sarah looked stunning in her white gown, but I couldn't help noticing the smug look she threw my way during the ceremony. A year after the wedding, Sarah had a daughter, my niece, Lily. As she grew, I found myself spending more and more time with her. Sarah seemed all too happy to pawn her off on me, preferring to spend her time gossiping with friends or scrolling endlessly on her phone. "Monica, can you take Lily this weekend?" Sarah's voice crackled through the phone. It was a familiar request. "I've got plans." I sighed, knowing full well that plans probably meant another meeting with chatty friends. "Sure, Sarah. I'd love to spend time with Lily." That weekend, I took Lily to a new children's entertainment complex that had just opened up in town. Her eyes lit up as we entered, taking in the colorful play areas and exciting activities. "Aunt Monica, look," Lily squealed, pointing at a giant slide. "Can we go on that?" I laughed, her excitement infectious. "Of course we can, sweetie. We can do whatever you want today." As I dropped Lily off at home that evening, I overheard Sarah arguing with her husband, Mason. Their voices were muffled, but I caught snippets about Sarah's frequent absences and her disinterest in family life. I quickly ushered Lily inside, not wanting her to hear the argument. But as I turned to leave, Mason caught my arm. "Monica," he said, his voice strained. "I don't know what to do anymore. Sarah's never home, and when she is, she's glued to her phone. It's like Lily and I don't even exist to her." "I'm sorry," I said, not knowing what else to say. "If there's anything I can do to help with Lily, just let me know." He nodded gratefully, and I left, feeling a mix of emotions. Anger at Sarah for neglecting her family, worry for Lily, and a strange sense of vindication. All those years of Sarah tormenting me, and now her true colors were showing to everyone else too. The day everything fell apart started like any other. I was at a cafe with my friends when my phone rang. It was my mother, her voice tense and brittle. "Monica, you need to come home. Now." I arrived at my parents' house to find chaos. Sarah was sobbing on the couch, mascara streaking down her face. My father was pacing, red-faced with anger. And in the corner, looking shell-shocked, was Sarah's husband, soon-to-be ex-husband, as I would learn. "He caught me," Sarah wailed between sobs. With her lover," Mason spat out. "In our own bed." I stood there, stunned. Despite knowing about Sarah's indiscretions, seeing the fallout was something else entirely. And then, as always, Sarah's eyes locked onto me. "This is your fault," she shrieked, pointing an accusing finger. "If you hadn't been so perfect, if you hadn't taken up so much of Mom and Dad's attention, I wouldn't have had to look elsewhere for love." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Even now, faced with the consequences of her own actions, Sarah was trying to blame me. "That's enough, Sarah," I said, my voice cold. "You made your choices. Don't you dare try to pin this on me." My parents, predictably, rushed to Sarah's defense. "Monica, how can you be so heartless?" my mother cried. "Your sister is hurting." I looked at them, these people who had always taken Sarah's side, who had never believed me when I told them about her cruelty. In that moment, I made a decision that would change the course of my life. "I'm done," I said quietly. "I'm done with the drama, the accusations, the constant favoritism. I'm moving out." My parents protested, but their words fell on deaf ears. I was 22, fresh out of college, and ready to start my own life. Within a week, I had found a small apartment across town and moved out of my childhood home. The next few years were a whirlwind. I landed an entry-level job at a fashion magazine, throwing myself into work with a passion born of determination to succeed on my own terms. Nights were spent poring over fashion blogs, learning everything I could about the industry. All the while, I kept my distance from my family. Sarah and Lily had moved back in with our parents, but I tried to go there as little as possible. Still, I made an effort to stay in touch with Lily. We'd meet for ice cream or trips to the park, away from the watchful eyes of Sarah and my parents. Lily was growing into a sweet, thoughtful girl, so different from her mother that it sometimes took my breath away. As the years rolled by, my career took off like a rocket. At 34, I found myself in a position I'd only dreamed of as a fresh-faced college graduate. Senior journalist at a top fashion magazine, my byline recognized by industry insiders and fashion enthusiasts alike. But that wasn't all. I'd also cultivated a significant following as a fashion blogger, my social media filled with outfit ideas, trend forecasts, and behind-the-scenes peeks at the glamorous world of high fashion. My phone buzzed with a notification. Another 1,000 followers on Instagram. I smiled to myself, remembering the days when I'd celebrate each new follower like a personal victory. As I flipped through the glossy photos, my mind wandered to my own wardrobe. I'd come a long way from the hand-me-downs and bargain bin finds of my youth. Now, my closet was filled with designer pieces, each one carefully chosen to reflect my personal style and the image I wanted to project to the world. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was a text from Lily, now a teenager. "Aunt Monica, can you help me pick an outfit for my friend's birthday party this weekend?" I smiled, warmth filling my chest. Despite the distance I'd put between myself and Sarah, Lily and I had managed to maintain a close relationship. She'd inherited my love for fashion, and I relished every opportunity to share that passion with her. "Of course, sweetie," I texted back. "Why don't you come over on Saturday morning and we'll put something together?" Sarah. The thought of my sister still brought a twinge of discomfort. We barely spoke these days, our interactions limited to terse exchanges at family gatherings I couldn't avoid. She was still living with our parents, still playing the role of the wronged woman, still using Lily as a pawn in her games. But I refused to let thoughts of Sarah dampen my mood. I had too much to be grateful for, too much to look forward to. My career was thriving, I had a beautiful home that I'd bought with my own hard-earned money, I had Alex, my fiancé, and I was finally, truly happy. As I scrolled through the latest runway looks on my tablet, my phone rang. Sarah's name flashed on the screen, and I sighed, bracing myself for what was to come. Monica, Sarah's voice was sharp, demanding. Lily needs a new outfit for her school dance. Something designer, obviously. Just make sure it's expensive and trendy. Lily needs to look better than those other girls. Before I could respond, she hung up. I stared at the phone, a mix of anger and resignation washing over me. How had I become responsible for dressing my niece? Despite my frustration with Sarah, I couldn't help but feel excited about shopping for Lily. At 15, she was developing her own sense of style, and I loved helping her explore that. The next day, Lily and I hit the mall. We spent hours trying on dresses, giggling over some of the more outrageous designs. In the end, we settled on a beautiful emerald green dress that made Lily's eyes sparkle. As we left the store, bags in hand, I couldn't help but feel a twinge of resentment. I loved spoiling Lily, but Sarah's expectation that I would foot the bill for all of Lily's clothing needs was becoming too much. A week later, I found myself at my parents' house for a family dinner. The tension was palpable as soon as I walked in. Well, look who decided to grace us with her presence, Sarah smeared from her spot on the couch, phone in hand as usual. I ignored her, focusing instead on Lily, who ran to give me a hug. Aunt Monica. I wore the dress to the dance. Everyone loved it. That's wonderful, sweetheart, I smiled, genuinely happy for her. My mother's voice cut through the moment. Monica, don't you think it's a bit much? Buying such expensive clothes for Lily when your sister is struggling? I blinked, taken aback. Excuse me? My father chimed in, his tone disapproving. You're always dressed in designer clothes, driving that fancy car. Don't you think you could help out your family more? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Help out? I've been buying all of Lily's clothes for years now. Sarah hasn't spent a dime on her daughter's wardrobe and I don't know how long. Sarah's face twisted into a scowl. Oh, so now you're going to throw that in my face? Some of us don't have cushy jobs writing about shoes all day. I stood there, stunned into silence. How could they not see the truth? How could they still be taking Sarah's side after all these years? As I drove home that night, tears of frustration stinging my eyes, I realized that some things would never change. No matter how successful I became, no matter how much I did for Lily, in my family's eyes, I would always be the selfish one, the one who needed to do more. However, there was something else in my life, besides a good job and a terrible family. My fiancé. 2 years had flown by since I met Alex. When he proposed on a quiet evening at home, I didn't hesitate to say yes. As a fashion journalist, I knew the importance of the perfect wedding dress. I reached out to a young Italian designer I'd featured in one of my articles. His avant-garde approach to bridal wear had caught my eye, and I knew he could create something truly special. When the dress arrived, my hands shook as I unzipped the garment bag. The moment I saw it, my breath caught in my throat. It was perfect, a delicate peach color that complemented my skin tone, with intricate lace detailing and strategically placed rhinestones that caught the light beautifully. I slipped it on, my heart pounding. As I looked in the mirror, I knew this was it. The dress hugged my curves in all the right places, the color making me look radiant. I felt like a bride, like the successful, confident woman I'd become. Without thinking, I snapped a picture and sent it to Sarah. Despite our differences, she was still my sister, and some small part of me hoped she'd be happy for me. Got my wedding dress, I texted along with the photo. What do you think? Her response was typically Sarah. Bit much, isn't it? You always did like to show off. I sighed, putting my phone away. I don't know why I expected anything different. Carefully, I hung the dress in my closet, already dreaming of the day I'd walk down the aisle in it. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of wedding preparations. Between finalizing the guest list, choosing a venue, and keeping up with my work, I barely had time to breathe, let alone visit my family. One evening, as I was going over seating arrangements, my phone rang. It was my mother. "Monica, we haven't seen you in weeks," she said, her tone accusatory. "Lily's been asking about you." Guilt washed over me. In all the wedding chaos, I'd neglected my relationship with Lily. "I'm sorry, Mom. Things have been crazy with the wedding planning." About that, my mother's voice took on a familiar disapproving tone. "How much are you spending on this wedding? You know, a modest ceremony would be just as meaningful." I frowned. "Mom, I don't think that's any of your business." "Of course it is," she exclaimed. "We're your family. And speaking of family, have you thought about how you could help your sister instead of spending all this money on one day?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Mom," I said, my voice trembling with suppressed anger, "this is my wedding. Alex and I are paying for it ourselves. How we spend our money is our business, not yours, and certainly not Sarah's." "Don't be so selfish, Monica," my mother scolded. "Family should come first." As I hung up the phone, I felt a mixture of anger and sadness wash over me. Even now, with one of the happiest days of my life approaching, my family couldn't simply be happy for me. Everything always had to revolve around Sarah and her needs. Just as the dust was settling from the wedding dress drama, a new storm was brewing. Lily was graduating high school, and with graduation came the inevitable school ball. My phone rang one afternoon while I was in the middle of a photo shoot. Sarah's name flashed on the screen. "Monica," Sarah's voice was demanding as ever. "Lily needs a dress for her graduation ball. I want you to buy her one from that new collection by, what's his name? The famous one you're always going on about." I knew exactly which designer she meant, and exactly how much his dresses cost. "Sarah, those dresses are incredibly expensive. We're talking thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. I'm not spending that kind of money on a dress Lily will wear once. It's not reasonable." "Fine," Sarah spat. "I'll tell Mom and Dad how greedy you're being. Don't bother calling Lily anymore." She hung up, leaving me standing in the middle of the studio, shaking with anger and frustration. True to her word, my parents called later that day, berating me for my selfishness and lack of family values. After a sleepless night, I came up with a solution. I called Lily, hoping she would answer, despite her mother's threats. "Lily, sweetie," I said, relieved to hear her voice. "I have an idea about your graduation dress. Why don't you come over and borrow one of mine? I have plenty of designer dresses you could choose from." There was a pause, then Lily's excited voice came through. "Really, Aunt Monica? That would be amazing." I could hear Sarah in the background, asking what was going on. After a moment, Sarah came on the line. "Fine," she said grudgingly. "We'll be over next week." A week later, I was at home, deep in concentration as I finished up an article for the magazine. The doorbell rang, and I opened it to find Sarah and Lily. "The dresses are upstairs in the guest room closet," I said, gesturing towards the stairs. "Why don't you two go up and take a look? I just need to finish this article." Sarah nodded curtly and led Lily upstairs. I returned to my computer, immersing myself back in my work. It seemed like only minutes had passed when I heard them coming back down. "That was fast," I said, surprised. "Did you find something you liked, Lily?" But before Lily could answer, Sarah was hurrying her out the door. "We need to go," she said abruptly. "Thanks for this." A few days after Sarah and Lily's strange visit, I decided to try on my wedding dress again. With all the family drama, I needed a reminder of the joy that was to come. I opened my closet, reached for the garment bag, and it wasn't there. Panic set in as I searched frantically through my entire wardrobe. The beautiful peach dress was nowhere to be found. And then it hit me, Sarah and Lily's hasty departure, their refusal to show me what they'd chosen. They hadn't borrowed a dress, they'd stolen my wedding gown. Furious, I drove to my parents' house. I burst through the door without knocking, making a beeline for Lily's room. There, hanging in her closet, was my peach wedding dress. "Lily!" I called out, my voice shaking with anger and disappointment. "How could you do this? Why would you take my wedding dress?" Lily appeared in the doorway, her face pale and eyes wide with shame. Before she could speak, Sarah pushed past her, her face twisted with rage. "How dare you barge in here and accuse my daughter?" Sarah spat. "You're so greedy, you can't even lend a dress to your own niece for her graduation?" I was stunned. "Lend? Sarah, you stole my wedding dress." "This isn't just any dress, it's for my wedding day." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "Oh, please, you have plenty of dresses. You're just jealous that Lily will look better in it than you ever could." "Jealous?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Sarah, you're the one who's always been jealous. Of my career, my success." The room fell silent. Then, from behind me, I heard my mother's voice. "Monica, how dare you speak to your sister that way?" I turned to see both my parents standing there, their faces masks of disappointment and anger. "But she stole my wedding dress," I protested. My father shook his head. "Always so selfish, Monica. Can't you think of anyone but yourself for once?" I stood there, feeling like I was drowning. How had this happened? How was I the villain in this story? Without another word, I grabbed my dress and left. The next day, my phone rang. It was Lily. "Aunt Monica, I'm so sorry." Her voice was small, trembling. "I didn't know it was your wedding dress. Mom said, she said you'd want me to have it. We didn't even look at the other dresses. I'm so sorry." My anger melted away. Of course Sarah had manipulated the situation, used Lily as a pawn in her games. "Oh, Lily," I sighed. "It's okay. I understand. How about we go shopping for a new dress?" "Your own dress, not a borrowed one." "Really?" The hope in her voice was palpable. "But I can't afford a nice dress." "Don't worry about that," I said. "But I have a proposal. The dress will be yours, but you'll pay it off in installments. By helping me with my wedding preparations." The day after our phone call, Lily and I hit the stores. It was a day filled with laughter, honest conversations, and a deepening of our bond. We finally settled on a stunning midnight blue gown that made Lily look like a princess. On the night of her graduation, Lily was radiant. As I watched her laughing with her friends, posing for photos, I felt a bittersweet pang. This wonderful young woman had grown up so fast, and I was grateful to be a part of her life. After the ceremony, as we sat in a quiet corner, I took a deep breath. "Lily, there's something I need to tell you." She looked at me, her eyes curious. "I've decided not to invite your mother to my wedding," I said gently. "And I don't think I'll be communicating with her anymore." Lily nodded slowly, surprising me with her calm reaction. "I understand, Aunt Monica. So, does this mean I can't come to the wedding either?" "Oh, no," I exclaimed. "Lily, you're absolutely invited. In fact, I was hoping you'd be one of my bridesmaids." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of wedding preparations, with Lily by my side every step of the way. When my parents found out about my decision to exclude Sarah, they called to inform me that they wouldn't be attending either. To my surprise, I felt more relieved than upset. The day of my wedding arrived, bright and beautiful. As I stood in front of the mirror in my peach dress, Lily helping me with the final touches, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't experienced in years. The ceremony was perfect. Alex's face as I walked down the aisle, the love radiating from our friends and chosen family, Mason's surprising presence, my ex-brother-in-law. It all combined to create a day full of joy and new beginnings. As the reception wound down, Lily approached me, excitement written all over her face. "Aunt Monica, I got into college. In New York. Dad's helping me with the tuition." I hugged her tightly, thrilled for her new adventure. Oh, Lily, that's wonderful. You're going to do great things, I just know it. In the months that followed, life settled into a new rhythm. Lily moved to New York for college, calling me regularly for advice on everything from fashion to study habits. I want to be just like you, Aunt Monica, she'd say, making my heart swell with pride. I threw myself back into my work with renewed passion, my personal life finally free from the drama that had plagued it for so long. Alex was supportive and understanding, a true partner in every sense of the word.
Hey, I'm Sherry, a 32-year-old traffic cop. I've got a badge, a whistle, and a never-ending curiosity. Life's been pretty solid. I love my job keeping the streets safe. And then there's Liam, my husband. He's 34, a hotshot real estate agent with a smile so smooth he could sell ice to an Eskimo. But here's the kicker, I'm adopted. Yep, plot twist right at the start. I've always known, but lately it's been nagging at me. Who are my birth parents? Why'd they give me up? Do I have my mom's eyes or my dad's nose? One morning, I'm at our kitchen table, fiddling with my coffee mug, deep in thought. Liam walks in, suited up for work. You okay, babe? You look like you're trying to solve world peace over that coffee. I take a deep breath. Liam, I think I want to find my birth parents. He freezes for a second, then sits across from me. Are you sure? That's a big step. I know, but I can't shake this feeling. I need to know where I came from. Liam nods, but he looks a bit pale. If that's what you want, I support you 100%. I smile, feeling a weight lift. Thanks, Honorable. I've been thinking about hiring a private investigator. A PI? Isn't that a bit much? He asks, eyebrows raised. I shrug. Maybe. But I don't know where else to start. I've got a name, Sam Cooper, supposed to be the best in the business. Liam nods again, but it's like he's mentally solving a Rubik's Cube. Okay, if that's what you want. Just be careful. Always am. Officer safety, remember. That afternoon, I meet with Sam. He's got the whole noir detective vibe, trench coat and all. So, Miss Sherry, what can you tell me about your adoption? I hand him a folder. Not much. Born June 15, 1992, at St. Mary's Hospital. Adopted 2 weeks later through Sunshine Adoptions. That's about it. Sam flips through the papers. No medical history? Nothing. Blank slate, I say. He nods, scribbling in a notebook. All right, I'll dig through hospital records and agency files. It's not much, but it's a start. How long do you think it'll take? I ask, trying to ignore the butterflies in my stomach. Sam leans back, tapping his pen. Hard to say. Could be weeks, maybe months. These things are never straightforward. I nod, trying to stay calm. Okay, just keep me posted, yeah? Will do, Miss Sherry. And hey, you sure do want to do this? Sometimes the past is better left in the past. I straighten up, adjusting my uniform. I'm sure, I need to know. Later, I get a text from Liam. Everything okay? Love you. I reply, all good. Pay is on the case. Love you too. But as I hit send, I can't shake this feeling that I'm standing on the edge of a cliff, ready to leap into the unknown. 2 months crawl by. Sam sends vague updates, making progress, following leads. But it's Liam who's really throwing me off. My usually chatty husband has turned into a clam. One night, I'm on the couch scrolling through my phone when he walks in and practically jumps out of his skin. Geez, Jerry, didn't see you there. I've been here for an hour. You okay? He runs a hand through his hair, avoiding eye contact. Yeah, just work stuff. But I don't buy it. Something feels off. The next day at work, I'm knee-deep in paperwork when my partner, Tanya, drops a file on my desk. Hit and run on 5th and Main. Victims in the hospital, but get this, the perp? Some big-shot businessman, Victor Reeves. Ring any bells? I whistle. The real estate mogul. Yeah, I've seen his mug on billboards. Tanya leans in. Word is he's got connections. Might get messy. As we head out to canvass the scene, I spill my guts to Tanya. So get this, I hired a PI to find my birth parents. Her eyes widen. No way, any luck. Sam says he's making progress, but Liam's been acting weird ever since I started this. Weird how? Jumpy. Distracted. like he's hiding something. Maybe he's planning a surprise, she jokes. I snort. Yeah, surprise. I've been keeping your birth parents in our basement for years. We both laugh, but that uneasy feeling lingers. Later that afternoon, my phone rings. It's Sam. Sherry, I've got news. Big news. But it's complicated. Can you meet at my office? Heart pounding, I rush over. Sam looks exhausted. Sit down, Sherry. I found your birth mother. The world stopped spinning. You did. Who is she? Where? Sam holds up a hand. That's the complicated part. Your birth mother is Linda Hawthorne. I blink, confused. Linda Hawthorne? As in, Liam's mom. My mother-in-law. Sam nods slowly. I triple-checked. It's her. The room spins. I grab the desk to steady myself. But that's impossible. Liam would have known. He would have told me. Then it hits me. Liam's strange behavior. His nervousness when I mentioned the PI. He knew, I whisper. He knew all along. Before Sam can stop me, I'm out the door, dragging home like a woman possessed. Liam is in the living room when I burst in. Did you know? My voice shakes. Did you know that your mother is my birth mother? That where? Oh God, are we related? Liam goes pale. Sherry, I can explain. Explain what? That your mom is my birth mom. That. No, we're not related, I swear, he says, frantic. I found out when we started dating. I saw a picture of you as a baby in my mom's old things, and I knew. Liam's voice wavers, his eyes wide with guilt. My stomach churns. I feel like I'm going to be sick. And you never thought to tell me, or tell her? I wanted to. But Mom, she doesn't know. She thinks you're just her daughter-in-law. I was afraid, if she found out. Before I can respond, Liam's phone rings. He answers it, and as I watch, all the color drains from his face. What? When? We'll be right there, he says. He looks at me, his eyes filled with fear. It's Mom. She's been in a car accident. We need to get to the hospital. Now. And just like that, my world tilts on its axis again. The fluorescent lights at the hospital feel harsh, giving me a headache. Or maybe it's the weight of everything I'm trying to process. Liam and I rush through the emergency room doors, and there she is, Linda. My mother-in-law. My birth mother. She looks so small in that hospital bed, bruised and hooked up to machines. Oh, Sherry, Liam, thank goodness you're here, Linda says, her voice weak but relieved. I freeze, unsure how to react. Do I hug her? Cry? Scream? I can't move. Liam squeezes my hand, silently pleading with me to keep it together. Hey Mom, he says, his voice cracking. How are you feeling? Linda gives us an update. Broken arm, some bruised ribs, nothing life-threatening. I nod along, feeling detached from the moment, like I'm watching it all unfold from outside my body. This woman gave birth to me, and she has no idea. Later in the hallway, Liam pulls me aside. Sherry, please, he whispers, his voice desperate. We can't tell her. Not now, it would destroy her. I want to laugh, or maybe cry. Destroy her? What about me, Liam? Do you have any idea what this is doing to me? His eyes are filled with regret. I know. And I'll tell you everything, I swear. Just, not here. Not now. I take a deep breath, counting to 10 in my head. Fine, but when we get home, you're telling me everything. No more secrets. The drive home is silent, heavy with unspoken words. As soon as we walk through the door, I round on Liam. Talk. Now. He collapses onto the couch, looking defeated. Mom had me when she was 16. It was complicated. She was dating this older guy, Victor Reeves. My cop instincts kick in. Wait, Victor Reeves? The hit-and-run suspect? Liam nods. Yeah, that's him. He's probably my father, but Mom never confirmed it. Anyway, 2 years after I was born, she got pregnant again. But Victor, he forced her to give the baby up for adoption. He threatened to take me away if she didn't. My head spins. And that baby was me, I whisper. Lamb looks up, guilt etched on his face. I found out when we started dating. I saw a baby picture of you at Mom's house, and I just knew. I did some digging, confirmed it, but I was scared. If I told you, I thought I'd lose you. If I told Mom, it would bring up all the pain she tried to bury. I start pacing, trying to make sense of it all. So you just decided to keep this massive secret? Let me search for my birth parents while you knew the truth all along. I'm sorry, Liam says, his voice barely a whisper. I thought I was protecting everyone. But something isn't adding up. Liam, if Victor Reeves is your father and your mom's ex, why is he still involved? Why was he in a hit and run in our city? Liam looks confused. I don't know. Mom hasn't mentioned him in years. A horrible thought strikes me. Liam, what if the hit and run wasn't an accident? What if it's connected to all of this somehow? He pales. You don't think? I don't know what to think, I say, already grabbing my coat, but I need to go back to the hospital. There's something I need to check. What are you going to do? Liam asks, looking worried. I pause at the door. Something that could get me fired if I'm caught. But I need to know the truth. Back at the hospital, I wait until the night shift starts, then quietly slip into Linda's room. I carefully swab the inside of her cheek while she sleeps, then head home and do the same to Liam while he's passed out on the couch. As I seal the DNA samples in evidence bags, my hands are shaking. This is it, the moment of truth. Whatever these results show, there's no going back. I stare at the sealed bags, feeling the weight of my badge in my pocket. I'm crossing a line here, using police resources for personal reasons. But I need answers. I need answers, and something tells me this goes much deeper than a long-lost family reunion. As I drive to the lab, my mind is racing. Victor Reeves, the hit and run, Linda's accident, my adoption. How does it all connect? And more importantly, what am I going to do when I finally uncover the truth? The DNA results hit me like a ton of bricks. Linda is my mother, but Liam? He's not even related to me. My entire life feels like a lie unraveling in slow motion. I confront Linda at the hospital. She breaks down, finally spilling everything. Victor Reeves had threatened to take Liam away if she didn't give me up. She's been carrying the weight of that guilt for years. Using my cop instincts, I dig into Victor's past. What I find is a cesspool of fraud, blackmail, and manipulation. Keeping up with Tanya, we plan a sting operation. It's risky, but it pays off. We catch Victor red-handed, not only for the hit and run, but also for his long list of past crimes against Linda and countless others. As for Liam, I can't forgive him for all the years of deception. Our marriage is over. He loses his real estate license when his involvement with Victor's fraud comes to light. It's the end of our relationship, but the beginning of a new chapter for me. Now I'm focusing on my career and personal growth. Linda and I have a cautious, delicate relationship. It's not perfect, but at least now, it's honest. Looking back, this journey has been painful, but it's also made me stronger. I've learned that family isn't just about blood. It's about trust and honesty. As I sit at my desk at the precinct, I can't help but smile. I've survived the lies, the betrayal, and somehow, I've come out stronger. I'm Sherry, traffic cop extraordinaire, and I'm ready for whatever life throws at me next. Hey, Tanya. I call out to my partner, grabbing my hat. Ready to hit the streets? She grins, tossing me my badge. Born ready, partner. As we head out into the city, I feel a sense of peace. The truth may have turned my world upside down, but it's also set me free, and that's a kind of justice I never knew I needed. Now I have a question for you. If you were in Sherry's shoes, would you have confronted Linda with the truth right away, or kept it secret to protect her? How far would you go to uncover the truth about your past, even if it meant risking your current relationships? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Hey everyone, I'm Victoria, buried under textbooks and desperately cramming for my business administration finals at this fancy university in Boston. My roommate, Maya, walks in, looking like she hasn't slept in days. Victoria, you're still going at it. It's 2 a.m. I rub my eyes, realizing I've completely lost track of time. Yeah, Professor Adams's exam is going to be brutal. I can't afford to slack off now. Maya flops onto her bed. At least you've got Jack to study with. I saw you two at the library earlier. Anything happening there? My cheeks heat up. Oh, stop it. We're just friends. Just then my phone buzzes. It's my sister Diana. I hesitate before answering. Victoria. Oh my God, you'll never guess what's happening. Her voice is nearly a scream. I pull the phone away from my ear. Diana, it's late. What's going on? Eric is going to propose. I just know it. He's been acting so secretive and romantic lately. I sigh, already knowing where this is headed. That's great, Diana. Congrats. But listen, I need you to plan the surprise engagement party. It has to be perfect. My stomach drops. Diana, I can't. My finals are... Oh, come on. This is way more important than some silly tests. Mom and Dad's restaurant would be perfect for the venue, and I'm thinking at least 100 guests. I try to interject, but she keeps going, steamrolling over me with demands and ideas. Maya shoots me a sympathetic look. Diana, I really can't. These exams are crucial for my future. Future. Please, this is about family. Don't be so selfish, Victoria. Guilt creeps in, as it always does. Our immigrant parents worked so hard to give us these opportunities. Diana's always been the successful one, and I hear myself give in. Fine, I'll figure something out. As I hang up, Maya shakes her head. Victoria, you can't keep letting her walk all over you like that. I bury my face in my hands. I know, but she's family. What am I supposed to do? Maya gets up and hugs me. We'll figure it out together. But for now, you need sleep. As I try to drift off, my mind races. How am I going to balance party planning with my exams? And why do I always let Diana manipulate me like this? Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a drama that would turn my life upside down. A few days later, I'm hunched over my laptop in the campus library, trying to make sense of the party budget, when Jack slides into the seat across from me. Hey Victoria, you look stressed. I rub my temples. That obvious, huh? Want to talk about it? I spill everything about Diana's ridiculous demands. Jack's eyes widen as I list off the extravagances. A chocolate fountain for an engagement party, and a live band, and over 100 guests. Jack whistles. That's insane. How are you supposed to afford all that? I'm not. That's the problem. My phone buzzes. It's Diana again. I answer, putting it on speaker. Victoria, I've been thinking. We need to change the venue. Mom and Dad's restaurant is too small. I found this amazing ballroom downtown. Diana, stop. We can't afford that. I'm already stretching my budget. Your budget. This is my engagement we're talking about. Remember when I helped you move into your dorm? You owe me. I feel my face flush with anger and embarrassment. Jack raises an eyebrow. That's not the same thing, and you know it. I say. Whatever. Just make it happen. Oh, and I decided Maya and Jack can't help. I don't trust them to do it right. She hangs up before I can respond. I look at Jack, mortified. I'm so sorry about that. He shakes his head. Don't apologize for her, Victoria. You need to stand up to her. Later that week, I'm in Professor Adams' office trying to explain my recent poor performance without mentioning Diana. Victoria, you're one of my brightest students. What's going on? I stammer through a vague excuse about family obligations. He doesn't look convinced. That night, I'm on the phone with Diana again. My patience wearing thin. For the last time, we can't afford pyrotechnics. You're not even trying. This is the most important day of my life. Something in me snaps. No, Diana. Your wedding would be the most important day. This is just an engagement party that your boyfriend doesn't even know about. How dare you? You've always been jealous of me. Just because you're in college doesn't make you better than me. I'm stunned by the venom in her voice. Is that what you think? That I'm trying to be better than you? Oh please, with your fancy degree and your perfect grades. Some of us had to work in the real world. Diana, I am working. These exams are my job right now. They're important for my future. She scoffs. Future? Wake up, Victoria. A piece of paper won't guarantee you success. Look at me. I'm the one with the amazing career and the perfect boyfriend. Tears prick my eyes. If your life is so perfect, why do you need me to validate it with this ridiculous party? There's a long silence, and when Diana speaks again, her voice is icy. You know what? Forget it. I'll plan it myself. Don't bother showing up. She hangs up, and I sit there, phone in hand, feeling a strange mix of relief and guilt. Did I just ruin my relationship with my sister? And why do I still feel bad when she's the one being unreasonable? I stare at my phone, my finger hovering over the block contact button next to Diana's name. You okay? Maya asks, watching me from her bed. I nod, not trusting my voice. She doesn't push. but I can see the concern in her eyes. The next few days blur into a mess of textbooks and coffee. I'm in the library trying to focus on macroeconomics when Jack slides into the seat next to me. Hey, how's it going? I gesture to the mountain of papers around me. Oh, living the dream. He chuckles, then his expression turns serious. Listen, Maya and I have been looking into something. I raise an eyebrow. What kind of something? It's about Diana and Eric. We found some stuff online that's concerning. My stomach drops. What kind of stuff? Jack pulls out his laptop and shows me some articles and court documents. As I start reading, I feel like I'm going to be sick. Eric is under investigation for embezzlement, a history of fraud. Jack continues, his voice quiet. And there's more. We dug into Diana's financials. She's not as successful as she claims. She's drowning in debt. I shake my head, not wanting to believe it. How? She's always bragging about her big commissions, her designer clothes. It's all a front. Credit card debt, loans. She's living way beyond her means. I sit back stunned. All those demands for an extravagant party. Was she expecting me to foot the bill? The next few days pass in a haze. I go through my exams on autopilot, my mind reeling from everything I've learned. After my last test, I walk out feeling a mix of relief and dread. My phone buzzes with messages from my parents. Victoria, call us immediately. Why would you abandon your sister like this? We raised you better than that. My hands shake as I dial. Victoria, how could you do this to Diana? My mom's voice is sharp with disappointment. Do what? What did she tell you? She said you refused to help with her engagement party. That you told her you were too good for family now that you're in college. Anger surges through me. That's not what happened at all. Then explain, my dad says, his voice calm but stern. So I do. I tell them everything. Diana's unreasonable demands, the pressure she put on me during my exams, the guilt tripping. I even tell them about Eric's shady past and Diana's financial troubles. There's a long silence when I finish. Finally, my mom speaks, her voice softer now. Oh, Victoria, why didn't you tell us sooner? Tears well up in my eyes. I didn't want to disappoint you. Diana's always been the successful one, and I thought, Sweetheart, my dad interrupts, we're proud of you. Your education is important. We had no idea Diana was putting so much pressure on you. We talk for a while longer, and for the first time in weeks, I feel like I can breathe. But I know this isn't over. Diana won't take this lying down, and I have a feeling the real storm is yet to come. I text Maya and Jack. We need to talk. It's time to confront Diana. The next evening, I walk into my parents' restaurant. The familiar smell of spices does little to calm my nerves. Maya and Jack flank me, their presence reassuring. My parents are already there, setting up for our family dinner. Diana sweeps in fashionably late, as usual. Sorry I'm late, traffic was terrible. She pauses, noticing Maya and Jack. What are they doing here? Before I can respond, my dad speaks up. Diana, sit down, we need to talk. Her eyes narrow. About what? I take a deep breath. About everything, your engagement party, the lies, all of it. For the next hour, I lay it all out, the unreasonable demands, the guilt tripping, the years of manipulation. My parents listen, their faces growing more troubled with each revelation. You've been lying about your success. My mom's voice is barely above a whisper. Diana scoffs. Please, like Little Miss Perfect here hasn't been exaggerating. No, Diana, my dad interrupts firmly. This isn't about Victoria, it's about you. Just then, the door chimes. We all turn to see Eric walk in, looking confused at the tense atmosphere. Did I miss something? He asks. Diana jumps up. Eric, thank goodness you're here. Tell them about our engagement plans. Eric's confusion deepens. Engagement plans? What are you talking about? The room goes silent. Diana's face pales. The proposal, you've been acting so secretive lately, I thought. Eric runs a hand through his hair. Diana. Eric shifts uncomfortably, his gaze dropping. That wasn't a secret project, Diana. I'm under investigation for financial irregularities at work. The truth spills out, Eric's fraudulent activities, his impending legal troubles. Diana collapses into a chair, her carefully constructed world crumbling around her. In the aftermath of this revelation, I make the difficult decision to cut ties with her. It's painful, but for my own well-being, it's necessary. Weeks later, I stand in my graduation gown, diploma in hand. Despite everything, I've managed to graduate with honors and even landed a prestigious internship. Maya and Jack are cheering from the audience, and my parents beam with pride as we celebrate at a small, intimate gathering afterward. My phone buzzes with a news alert. Eric has been arrested for embezzlement. I feel a twinge of sadness for Diana, but quickly push it aside. Just then, another message comes through. It's from Diana. Congratulations on graduating. I know I messed up. Can we talk? I stare at the text for a long moment, then delete it without responding. I've learned the hard way that some toxic relationships aren't worth saving, no matter how much history you share. As I look around at the people who truly support me, my parents, Maya, Jack, and even Professor Adams, who has dropped by to congratulate me, I feel a sense of peace. I've weathered the storm and come out stronger on the other side. Hey, what are you thinking about? Maya asks, noticing my distraction. I smile, slipping my phone into my pocket, just grateful for the people who really have my back. We laugh and celebrate, and I know that whatever challenges come next, I'm ready to face them on my own terms. The story has come to an end, but I have a question for you. If you were in my shoes, would you have given Diana another chance after everything that happened, or do you think cutting ties was the right call? It's a tough situation many of us face with toxic family members. Where do we draw the line between family loyalty and self-preservation? Share your thoughts in the comments below.